All needed to switch. It's time to go ahead and get Charlie on. All right, okay. Without further ado, we would like to welcome to the stage Mr. Charlie Cook. Now he is applause right out of the gate. Maybe he doesn't even need an introduction. He is a lifelong musician and instrumental music teacher for over 20 years. He must have started when he was an infant, clearly. As an avid shooter and teacher and firearms instructor, he combines those things to create his popular gungram videos. He also hosts the YouTube channel Riding Shotgun with Charlie and features him conducting interviews behind the wheel while riding in various locations around the country with his shotgun riding guests. His videos have been featured on Comedy Central, and Charlie is rapidly becoming a popular guest on local and national radio programs, kind of like Gun Freedom Radio. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Charlie Cook.
All right. I love it, right? No. All right. I have to go out for this weekend and buy a polka dotted shirt, and I got to tell you, there are not a lot of men's polka dot shirts, so it was rather difficult. So I wanted to come up here, and since Cheryl was going to be here, I wanted to wear polka dots, and I wanted to, since polka dots are her camo, I wanted to come up here and be topless. So. All right, so here, good morning, everyone.
This is being streamed.
That's okay. I'm not offended. Good morning. Here in the Second Amendment community, we enjoy our constitutional rights to be able to keep and bear. The people in this room are bloggers and writers and authors and speakers. We do podcasts, we make videos, we do all sorts of stuff. We create lots of content so we can share this with other people to educate them, for them to enjoy, and for them to share as well. We also talk about how we like our First Amendment rights, and despite what happened on Twitter Wednesday night, we still like to have this voice. So the theme for Gun Rights Policy Conference 2019 is Freedom Now. And I'm here to talk to you about getting over and through your confidence and competency hurdles in new platforms. This summer, if you're a friend of mine on social media, you probably saw me going through some of this process. I've been working on this all summer long. You probably thought, with some of the things that I was doing, that I was probably going through a midlife crisis.
That too.
There we go. Most likely. No, I was not. I did that 10 years ago. I lost a lot of weight, I shaved my head, and grew a goatee. I did that 10 years ago. So I'm not midlifing. What I actually wanted to do this year is I wanted to enjoy a little bit of freedom. Got it, baby. So I wanted to enjoy some freedom. I didn't want to use the freedoms that I previously had because I've been using them. I wanted to expand to some new things. So the things that I did this summer, I remember back the first time that I went shooting. First time I went shooting, I did shoot a Smith & Wesson Model 617. I remember the weight of the gun. I remember the feel of the recoil and the smell of the burnt gunpowder. And I gotta tell you, it was completely exhilarating. When I did this, I thought to myself, oh my God, does anyone else know about this? I think I could quit drinking to do this. I mean, not forever, but for a little while. So I thought this was great. I wanted to experience a couple of new freedoms. So this summer, I learned a couple of new platforms. And this is me in my old platform. This is the world famous Mr. Cook. I've been a band teacher for over 25 years. There's a process to everything that we do. And kids say to me, well, when are we gonna play cool songs? And I say, when are you gonna learn to put your fingers on the right keys? There's a process, like you can't get a sound out of the instrument and you don't know which way to hold the instrument the right way. Let's do that before we start to play cool songs. So there's a process for everything. I remember when I went out to the Front Sight Academy when I was a new gun owner in 2004, I didn't know about Gun Sight, I didn't know about all the other cool places. I ended up going to the Front Sight Academy. They taught you a 5-step process to drawing a gun out of a holster. And they eventually said something that I told my students. I tell my students that if they want to play a music instrument quickly, that the secret to playing fast is to practice slow. So you go out to a gun store, a gun academy, the gun school, and what do we say? We say slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And I say, wait a second, I've been teaching this to kids for a long time. If I can teach band instruments to kids, I can become a gun instructor as well, because there's a process to everything. The two platforms that I worked on this summer are learning to ride a motorcycle and doing stand-up comedy. Now, I got some friends that are motorcycle enthusiasts. One of my friends, he has a cache of motorcycles. He only has 22 motorcycles. The other gentleman has 7 motorcycles, and we actually found out all of his bikes are Harleys. We found out he has a Harley dirt bike, and those are not made in America. Those are made in Italy. Don't tell anyone. So my friends took me out to like, hey, you know, you've got to learn to ride a motorcycle. And I said, yeah, riding a motorcycle, man, seems a little dangerous, seems a little scary. People hurt themselves on motorcycles. Probably the same stuff that we've heard from people when we want to take them shooting. So it's been a couple of years. One of my buddies took me out. We went to a private club. He gave me one of his old motorcycles to use. He explained everything, and here's the clutch, here's the brake, here's the other brake, here's 1 down and 4 up, and all this sort of stuff. And it was a whole new process for me. And I gotta tell you, I loved it. I was doing 10 miles an hour. My buddy's granddaughter was passing me, and I'm like, oh man, I love this. This is a new level of freedom for me. 10 miles an hour is all I was doing. Boy, this is exactly what I felt like. I felt like Kid Rock, but I looked like Charlie Cook. Yeah. Nothing on that says Kid Rock at all, let me tell you. So we talked about this. We talked about there being a process in order for me to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Part of the process was getting out and getting on the bike and riding in circles and going slow. Part of the process was to get my permit. No, the process for the permit, okay, so all right, I can do this. And he's like, you get your permit, I'll let you ride one of my motorcycles, you'll buy one of your own, it'll be great. I downloaded the motorcycle riding manual as a PDF online, and a week later, I went to go get my license. Now, anyone been to the DMV recently? Exactly. So I went in and I found out that I needed a birth certificate. I don't have a birth certificate. I mean, I have one, I don't know where it is. There was a process to get my birth certificate. So a week later, I got a birth certificate, and then I started the process again. I went back to the RMV for the second time. Let's see, here I am the first time when I found out that I needed a birth certificate. So the second time I went, I had a birth certificate. I wasn't worked up about this because they barely looked at my notarized birth certificate. I was worked up about it because I flunked the test. I was a little upset with myself because I didn't know what the process was to register a motorcycle from out of state. And I didn't know what the process was or I didn't know how long it is that you could ride, and there were times that you couldn't ride. And I couldn't remember that drinking a 12-ounce beer, having 4 ounces of wine, or having a 1 shot of hard liquor increases your blood alcohol content by 0.02%. And this is why I ended up failing the test. So it's a little worked up. So I go home, and guess what I did? I read the book this time. I read the book, I did the online tests, and then guess what? Yeah, baby, I passed. I was excited to have my permit. This was great, this was awesome. So my buddy took me out again. We went out riding a little bit more. We've been on the street. I did have to spend $50 to purchase a helmet. To purchase a set of gloves. We went to the Boston Harley-Davidson dealer and got some $50 Harley gloves. Then I had to spend $160 on a helmet. I'm like, man, this is a costly habit, right? This is expensive. How do people afford to ride motorcycles? But I took the time to do it, and it was a lot of fun. We ended up going out a couple of times and riding on the road, and trying to keep up with my buddies was a little tricky. It was nice. I had one guy riding in front of me and one guy riding behind me. And it was reassuring. It was reassuring that my buddies were there, and they're like, well, if you don't get the turn signals, that's okay, because there's no lights on this motorcycle. This motorcycle's been around like as long as I've been, and doesn't have lights on it. But it was fun. There was a whole process to it, and I enjoyed the process. The other thing that I did this summer is I went out and I did some stand-up comedy. Now, part of the process with this is, back in 2012, I took a comedy writing course, and I had to do 5 minutes as to graduate the class. In 2014, I connected with a woman, and she said she wanted to do stand-up comedy. I said, I know someone who does this. So I contacted my instructor, and I said, hey, are you still doing open mic nights? And she's like, yeah, come on down. You're real funny, come on out. So we went. My friend wasn't as committed as I was, so she didn't do it. In 2015, I spent 3 or 4 months going to open mic nights at a comedy place in Boston, and I remember seeing one comedian that would tell these jokes and they wouldn't go over very well. And then the next time I would see him, he would tell them again, and he would tweak them a little bit, and he would change them a little bit, and he would smooth them out and make them a little bit funnier. And he would work on the aspects of comedy. You guys know what the most important aspect of comedy is? Ask me, what's the most important aspect of comedy? Timing. Yeah. Timing's important. You gotta learn how to work all this stuff out. So sometimes you have to wonder, is it a tough crowd or is it just bad material? Well, this past winter, I went to another comedy place with a friend of mine, and she said, hey, I want to get into this. I want to do this. I said, cool, let's do it. You don't have the guts. I don't have the guts. Let's go. So we went, right? We went to a little comedy place, to the open mic nights, and the comedians were up there were horrible. They sucked. And I said, you know what? I can suck just as bad as they do. Absolutely. This guy's not funny. I can be not funny too. So I went home and I started working on some material, and I don't just want to stand up in there and tell old, stupid, bad jokes. I wanted some real life material. So I made up jokes about my ex-wife and my kids. And it went over pretty well, and it was pretty fun, and it was nice. It was good. But there was a process to all of this. I did go out and videotape myself, and I did put these on some YouTube channels, and it was all a process, and I would tell some of the same jokes, and sometimes they would go over well, and sometimes they wouldn't go over well, because there's a whole process to this whole thing. And this is what I want to talk about. Now, I did not call myself by my real name. I called myself Freeman. And I have 2 middle names, and Freeman is one of them. So that's what I decided to go by. I didn't want anyone looking up Charlie Cook, because, well, I knew what they would find, and they would find videos of me shooting guns and playing trumpets at the same time and interviewing people, and not that I didn't want them to see it, I don't really care, but I just didn't want too many of my worlds to collide at the same time. So the first time that you go out and do something, doesn't matter what it is, guess what? You suck. You completely suck. I've been teaching band kids for 25 years. They all sucked when they started. They all did. The first time you went shooting, you sucked as well. The first time you learned how to drive, you sucked. The first time you cooked, you sucked. It sucked. Look, cook is my name, not my job. I make pasta, usually. I try not to burn it, okay? So every time you do something, you suck, but you enjoy it, and there's a process to it. And you have to learn what that process is, and you have to get through that process. When you are writing a blog, or when you are making a video, or when you are doing a podcast, put it out there. Doesn't matter that it sucks, because the content that you put out that sucks is better than the perfect content that you did not put out. So put it out there, and now is the time for you to put that content out. When I had the idea for writing Shotgun with Charlie, it was one of these things that came to me, and I'm like, hey, that looks pretty cool. How can I do this? I learned how to make gun grant videos on my iPhone. They've been watched about 20 million times. It's not John Korea stuff, not at all, but my stuff's been watched about 20 million times all over the world. They've been watched on every continent except Antarctica. So if you know someone who's stationed in Antarctica, please come up and talk to me. I want to get a video of one person on Antarctica saying they watched the video there. Then I can show my kids that my stuff's all over the world, right? So I learned how to edit video on my iPhone, and that's how it all started out. But then what I did is this. I started to watch carpool karaoke. I'm like, man, that looks like fun. James Corden is not funny. He's chubby in English. I'm chubby. I speak English. I can do this show. This is easy, right? You just get people in the car, you hang out with the rock stars in your field, and then all of a sudden you have something to offer these people, you can hang out with them. I wanted to become a mover and shaker. So I started watching carpool karaoke. I don't know how to make videos. What I did was this. I went to Craigslist, and I found a couple of used GoPro cameras and a couple of window mounts, suction cup window mounts. No idea how to make videos, no idea how to take them from the camera to my laptop. There was a process. I had to get that little adapter to stick in there because it didn't quite fit. So there was a process for this. Then after that, I downloaded the GoPro software, and I didn't know how to work that. I was going from one video to the other video, but I didn't learn that, or I didn't know that there was a way you could synchronize the videos and put the videos together. So I'm literally slicing, ending the one video and then waiting for the other one and then pausing it and then cutting it and then copying it and pasting it. It was a whole process. It was a big pain in the neck. It took me over 5 hours to do my first 30-minute show. Now my mentor's like, yeah, there's gotta be an easier way. I'm like, I don't know what it is. So what I ended up doing is I talked to someone else that makes some videos. And I downloaded the Adobe Premiere software. And I started to use this. And take this for what it is. I completely felt like a terrorist. And I'll tell you why. I just wanted to learn how to fly the plane. That's all I want to do. That's it. That's it. I want to take these videos and I want to clip them together and I want them to look good. I don't want to do anything else. I did a Udemy class and it talked about a brol. I'm like, what's a brol? I've never heard of a brol. Oh, brol is a B-roll. I'm like, what's a B-roll? I have no idea. No idea what this stuff is. But you know what? I'm still out there making videos and still out there putting them together. So, pardon?
B-roll is bloopers.
Yes, I got that. You know how long it took me to figure that out? So, I worked with the video, worked with the software. I got a little better at it. I got a little more comfortable with it. And then I started to add pictures into the videos. And then I started to put a camera on the hood of the car so I could get the places that I was driving. So if I'm driving through downtown Chicago with Rhonda Ezell, I got some really cool video of us driving through downtown Chicago. It was great, it was cool. Then I started to add PNGs. Dude, I am such a terrorist, I don't even know what PNG stands for, okay? No idea what this is, but I know that I can add those to my videos. And I can add them and it looks kind of cool. At the beginning of the summer, I decided, you know what? It's all a process. I've learned a little bit. I answered an ad on Craigslist for somebody looking to edit video. So I answered the email. I said, hey, I've got this show. I call it Riding Shotgun with Charlie. I use the software you guys do. I put the 3 cameras together. I got some extra video. I can add pictures. I can add music. I can speed through videos. I can do all this stuff. I sent them a couple gun grabs. I said I made videos on my phone. When I heard back, now, the ad that I answered, they put this out. They said that what they do is they make videos that are, yeah, they're S&M and dominatrix videos. So yeah, over the summer, I looked into editing pornography just so I could flex my video editing muscles. Now, here's the catch. I was not going to use my real name in the editing credits. Because nobody wants to see that. I was not going to use my name. I wasn't going to use Freeman either. When I heard back from these people, they wrote back to me and said they don't agree with my lifestyle. They are anti-gun folks, and they did not want me working with their video. Okay, gotcha, loud and clear, loud and clear. They make videos of guys that are dressed up like the Gimp from Pulp Fiction. These guys are tied up, they have a ball gag in their mouth, and they're spanking them, and they don't agree with me having guns. Are you kidding me? You can't be for real. So this whole thing is a process. Now, what I did was this idea that I had, and I needed to learn some stuff. I needed to learn a lot of stuff. So what I needed to learn is this. I needed to learn the equipment that I had. When I started the gungram videos, I used my iPhone 4S. That's how long I've been making these things. I learned that I can use the iMovie software and I can add titles. And then I actually took some time and found out that I can actually cut some of the video, keep the audio, and put other videos over that, which was a whole new revelation for making videos on my phone. If you're going to start a blog, you need to learn how to write. You got to have some decent writing skills. They don't have to be great, they got to be decent. You need to know how to put all this information on your website. You need to know how to record a podcast. Adobe has the free software, so you can use that software. There's a process to all of it, and the process is kind of the same, but it doesn't matter what you're doing, the process is the same. I ended up with 3 GoPros, and then I added a 4th, and then I think I added a 5th one, so I've got a lot of GoPros that I use. I edit my own shows because these things are my babies. They're all mine. I don't want someone else to edit my stuff. I want to know that my face and my name and my brand is on all of this. So these are all my babies. Sometimes I have to stay up late making some videos and editing things. If you don't know how to edit your videos, if you don't know how to do all this stuff, find someone who can. Take a Udemy course, talk to local people, talk to your local newspaper people about writing, talk to local TV shows. They can probably help you out as well. I changed my format from 10-minute segments to one long segment, very much like the Joe Rogan experience. You have to figure out what your why is. I'm cruising. I'm talking fast, girl. You have to figure out what your why is. For me, my why was I wanted to start making videos because I thought it would be fun. I eventually, when I came to Gun Rights Policy Conference in Tampa, my process is, my why is that I wanted to hang out with all the cool movers and shakers. And then I started to realize that my why is just to be a good influence on my kids. This is all I want to do. This is it. Good influence on the boy and the girl. Anyway, I know. I have this on my kitchen. The expert at anything was once a beginner. I do this to remind myself that this is all a new process and we can all do this process. The important thing that you need to do is you just need to start. Thank you.
He did the tears so I would give him a few extra seconds. Did you see that? Did you notice what happened there? And it worked. But it's not going to work with any but the rest of the speakers, so do not try it. Man, you go for the kids. Oh, gets me every time.